Well, hello, lovely listeners. Today I have the honor of meeting Cindy Ryan. Cindy is an intuitive guide. She's a Reiki master. I'm not quite a master, I'm Reiki too. And I don't know what this is, an emotion code practitioner. So I guess we'll find out what that is shortly. And Cindy works with people to help them find their uplifting, honest inner voice. I love that because my top core value is honesty. And yeah, so she works with them to connect back to the inner tools and techniques so they can achieve an open, balanced life. And she loves helping people find their inner bliss. Who doesn't like that word bliss? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and acknowledges it's different for everyone. So I'm keen to understand the work, how you do that work, because I've been attuned to Reiki 5 to 6 years, let's say, I think it is. But it's only been in the last few months that I've decided to actually do something commercially with that. It was just for me, friends, family, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've taken it out now because I think the last couple of years, lots of people have struggled, as you know, and I feel like it's important that there are more healers out there to help people. So welcome, Cindy.
Thank you.
Amazing to meet you. And yeah, and over to you. I'd love to know more about your backstory. And I read somewhere about you sort of got the senses when you were a child. So this is something like I never really did. I always felt like I could heal with my hands, as a child does, but never really, I never saw things or I never felt things until I got older. So yeah, over to you, Cindy. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited. I'll just be drawn to your voice this whole time. So the Canadian in me.
Okay.
So yes, thank you for having me. And I think it's so great to be able to share, because I truly believe we all have these gifts, all in unique and interesting ways. And when I was a child, I did see spirit. I didn't realize it or understand it. Sometimes I felt uncomfortable with the things I was seeing. But again, like most children, I was scared in a room alone, or I felt uncomfortable. But yes, at times I really could see things. And I think one of the turn points was when the night that my grandmother died, and I went to my parents' room and said, "Grandma's just died." And they said, "No, Grandma's fine. Grandma's fine."
Right.
And I said, No, Grandma's died." And they said, and then I went to bed, and sure enough, in the middle of the night, there was a phone call, and my grandma was not sick at all. And then I heard the phone, and that, yes, Grandma had died. And I think that was, for me, was a point where I thought, is anyone going to talk to me about that? That feels strange that I knew that. But nobody did. It just sort of came and went. And I think obviously they were in grief. So
how young were you then, Cindy?
I think I was probably, it must have been 9.
Okay.
I could actually know today, but so young. But how I explain what happened for me is, and it's a word that's used a lot now, is the word of empath, being an empath. But I really truly can feel, and not to downplay other people's, but I can experience my intuition by feeling your feelings, to a point where for a long time I took it on too much. So physical things would happen to me, a lot of physical things. And so I didn't understand that. And that's where I think sometimes people think they're not intuitive, but they might get really angry when somebody's sitting next to them and they were feeling fine before. Or they might suddenly go, "Well, why do I know that she's so this? How do I just feel like irritated when she's around me?" So that's sort of how my teenage years were. I was always just a person which people were always drawn to. I couldn't understand it all. It just was like a mess of me, a muddle. And so I didn't do very well in school. in the school system, very well socially, because I could just know. I knew what a teacher needed me to say. I knew what a friend needed. I knew how to connect, and people would say, how did you know that? I didn't know. I don't know. I just knew how to talk to them and how to draw out what they needed, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But then I got married very, very young. I had 2 children, and I did what a lot of people do, is I just went into the expectation of society. I got my degree. I went and we need to get a house. I put blinders on to my my soul self and just went into society self. And I really can't say it's anything about my I call him my husband, ex-husband. But it was me. I was missing. I wasn't fitting what I was meant to do. And so about 10 years, that all sort of cracked apart. And then I came back.
Yeah.
And it didn't come back.
Totally get
it didn't come. No, yeah. So it didn't come back beautifully. It came back really messy. And I mean, we can talk for, but that's where I discovered Reiki, because I had a horrible accident. And so I discovered Reiki by going to it, because I just needed healing. And I did not know. I remember being at a party and somebody was talking about past lives. And I was like, what's she talking? I judged everything back then. I thought it was all a little strange. But I went to Reiki because I needed healing. And the second I walked in, it was the most, I just felt like I had come home. And I went again and again, and she'd said, you could do this. You could do this yourself. So I did. And slowly I was doing my levels of training. But what I didn't realize was, and maybe this I'd love to talk to you about, while I was doing the training, I was also then picking up messages for people. So I was able to, while I was doing the sessions, I was suddenly going like, do you have a tattoo on your back? Do you have this? Is your mother sending in a message? All these things started to come through. And so more and more that would happen. And I'd realize there was something obviously greater happening than me. And so that was actually kind of scary. Because I knew if I truly accepted that, I had to tell people that there was something happening. I feel like I always say Reiki's like the gateway in, like everyone can say they do Reiki because it feels sort of like the safe space. Does that make sense? But as soon as you say, I'm channeling people from the other side, they're like, oh, what?
Yeah.
And so I decided to
I have to say something before you carry on. And I've been so the sun is coming in through your window, right? And it is an absolute rainbow of color.
I know, isn't it beautiful?
It's just coming onto you like that. And it didn't start off that way, but it's like that now.
I know.
And,
I will say, like, it is actually quite stunning. I do podcasts now, and you'll often see gold globes as I start to talk, like the orbs. I know, this is stunning.
Beautiful, yeah. Sorry.
No.
It's kind of matching your cardigan as well.
I know, it's really quite I did this quite well, didn't I? I really planned it out. So I did it, and then I decided to open a studio in my space, but it was like I needed to do it. So I just started I didn't want to charge like you. But I just one after another, they would come in and I couldn't stop. Like, you know, when somebody's like knows that's their soul passion, it like people will ask, does it draw your energy? And no, it does not draw my energy. And so I stayed at level 2 for quite a while, but what I did with level 2, and I don't know if you do this, is I was doing distance. So I could then do distance healing to, to Africa, to England, to, and I'm in Canada. So I was going all over the place, and I'd started with my friends. And so a story I often share was, I have a friend, he's a banker in Vienna, and I know that he'll tell me the truth. And so, because he's not big into energy, but I'd say, okay, I'm gonna try. You're just gonna, and he'd, can I read a book while you're doing it? No, I want you to like really be in the session. And I remember he just said, I'd written the notes after of what had happened. I said, oh, your knee's really sore today. And he said, I'm icing my knee right now. How do you know that? And that's when I was like, I just know I'm meant to do this. So it was evolving bit by bit, but me having to say, the more I do this, the more I have to tell people there's something happening. And that was really scary every single time, because, you know, you can quietly just give somebody some energy work. And then it's like, well, what does it mean that you live in Vienna? I can feel that. And you can feel it.
It's funny, when I was looking at your little profile before jumping on this,
yes,
all of a sudden, and it was before I got to the Reiki bit, all of a sudden I've got this energy thing going all over my head. Mad.
See, it's so incredible. I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just decided, I didn't have the funds. I always say this to people. I'm a single mom with 2 boys, and they are my whole world. I could cry in a minute. But I didn't have the funds to do all the extra, you look up how to work with an intuitive, or I wanted to learn, but I didn't have the money. And I always got this thing that said, just wait, it'll show up. Just wait, it'll show up. Sorry.
That's okay.
I do feel.
Yeah, I've been like that. I've been like this all week, honestly. It's crazy.
See, it's just it. And so I kept going like, nope, it'll just show up. It'll just show up when it's meant to show up. And then I met this beautiful woman, and she trained or worked with me for like 6 months to help me to open all of my gifts. And I quietly would race home like, okay, what am I going to learn this week? And that's what I did. I began to, it was this beautiful mentorship that I could learn and understand. So now I always make sure I offer one person a year that same gift.
Okay.
And then I started to see at the end, she said, now you're just going to invite people into your house, and you are going to do 1-to-1 sessions, and you are just going to do that however it looks for you. So I did. I asked out to my friends. I said, each of you give me 10 people. I only want to know their first name, and I'm going to try. And I tried about 50 sessions for free, and started to realize that I could do it. And I just kept going. And each time, I mean, even now to this day, even last week, I'm on a call with a woman, and it never will it stop being incredible to me. Like, I'm like, can you believe what I just said? Can you? So that's when I know that it's just meant to be. So that is, it was, each step was scary, like telling my parents that this is what I was going to do.
What did you do beforehand? Did you, I know
I was a licensing officer.
What does that mean?
I regulated and monitored and had people follow the rules, black and white, of daycare centers. So I would be the one that would go in and enforce rules.
Oh, with the clipboard and going,
yes.
God.
So not me.
No, I was going to say, yeah.
And I did that for 17 years. And so I would work, and then I would start sessions at 5 a.m. to other places in the countries all over, come home. And then I would work at night while I built this business, so that I knew eventually I could take the full-time job out without having to leave.
Yeah.
But that was it. I'd go to that job and feel so stuck.
Yeah. So how does, so you talk about, obviously you get these messages or these feelings or these whatevers. So like, see, I'm intrigued because obviously I'm level 2 and I've had conflicting information about being a master. Being a master, it allows you to attune other people to become Reiki healers.
Yes.
But I've been told that it doesn't really open you up anymore. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not.
I don't, you know what? I think, to be honest, I got to level 2. Level 2 just opened me to a space that was beautiful, right? I just loved it. And then I stayed at level 2 for, I think, 4 years. And that's how I worked. But different than you, I immediately then, then, as soon as we started, hello.
You've got the green of your earrings and the yellow of your cardigan.
I know. So as soon as I got to level 2, I stayed there, but then I was already probably doing 7 or 8 sessions a week. So that would be like which, and to different places in the world. So I'd already opened the business side of it. And then I waited, and then I did level 3, and it was more just like technique. So different ways of how to do things, like adding in a pendulum to understanding the chakra, like, so not more attunement. Maybe people will say, I'm always honest. But what I have found now that I teach it, and I teach it everywhere. So I attune people, like there's on my podcast, there's this week, it's a woman, I've never met her. She's done all her levels, but she's in the States and I'm here. So I find for myself, what I do when I attune other people, it's not that I feel any more clarity. It's that it's so much love watching people as they go through that process. I have that gift. And I always say, I mean, this is just the way I don't feel like I'm a healer. I feel like I'm just the vessel that's
the conduit.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that to watch people as they start to go through it, that I get to participate in that now is, I love it. So that would be the only, for me.
For you, yeah.
I think just watching people that you get to share in that process with them, because then what I have done is I offer every month Reiki shares for all of the students. So in my practice, then you're always getting Reiki. And then you can share with another practitioner, and so all of the students with me, you're always getting Reiki. You're always learning more. So that's me.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And in terms of how stuff comes through for you, like what I've noticed recently for me is that I'm feeling things in my body. So, like I was on a podcast with this amazing guy who's had cancer now for, God, I think it's 10 years or something crazy. And he's had one of his legs chopped off, by the knee and all of this sort of stuff. And he's such a positive guy. But I said to him towards the end, I said, was it your left leg? And he went, yeah, that's right. Because I had this massive pain in my left leg. So I tend to do that, but it's not, I suppose I get a bit frustrated because I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, that was great, but, and like I had a guy the other day and he's got these horrendous headaches and I'd got this stabbing pain in my eye, but I knew about the headaches. It's not like I didn't know, you know what I mean? You said you knew that your friend in Vienna had this knee problem.
But
go on.
No, but that's just because he was there. But I think your body's showing you, right? So if I'm doing a session now and the person said, I've got really bad knee pain, I will feel that knee pain with them. And then that's where I'll go. So I get different, we're all different. Even how people feel it, the energy in their hands. So I get pain on my hand until I hit an area, until I know I can leave the area. Okay. So that's what I've always said to people, is to pay attention, because sometimes I'll go over a spot and then my one hand really hurts. So I stay there until my hand doesn't hurt anymore.
Which Reiki have you attuned to?
Sui.
Right. Okay. So I'm Reiki Sakine.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the way you do it is probably different to the way that we're told, sort of taught to do it. But I'm sort of getting to that point where it's like, I know I should just do what I want to do, right?
You just do. My belief is, and the way even so back to what you're saying with, sorry, I'll go back to,
yeah.
I think as soon as you start to really acknowledge that you're feeling things like that's, now you're like, okay, now I feel it. And then, what other things can work. So that's, especially when I'm mentoring somebody, I'll say, okay, so this week, just pay attention to taste, pay attention to smells, pay attention. And then suddenly they're like, oh my God, I do taste. What? I had no idea. Or she always goes like this. And she goes, when I get this like twitch of my nose. And I'm like, yeah, do you realize that probably every time you're wanting to think something, your nose twitches, and you thought it was an annoying habit, but actually that's your intuition saying that's a yes for you. And we forget the nuances of our body, right?
For me, this new thing is coughing. Like I had my friend, and I literally had this coughing fit for about, I don't know, say a minute and a half. But I knew at the time, I was like, well, it came from nowhere and then it stopped. But what does it mean? That's the bit, that's the bit I get frustrated with. What did that actually mean?
And so it's always when you're talking to your friend.
No, this happened with my friend when I was giving her Reiki. And then I've noticed it since then, because it was very obvious that it was like, this is weird. She's like zonked out on the table and there's me coughing and I'm feeling awful, because I've probably interrupted her.
Are you just clearing then for her? Then you're probably the conduit clearing.
Is that what it is? Because I've had it a couple of times since and I'm like, what does this mean? So,
yeah,
right.
So I would just say you're then just.
So that's the way the energy is coming out.
Coming through. Yes.
Right. Okay.
So you could even, and I know we're just now going everywhere, but you could even, and I say this for people, is just at the very beginning of your session, asking her guides to come in, right? That's what I do for every session, is to say, I would like my guides and this client's guides to be here present for this session.
Right.
And to say, please choose the best way to clear. And if you're not liking the coughing, saying, I do not want the coughing, please not the coughing. Yeah. And you'll find it a different way will clear. Or if you're like, I would really like a message to end this off, please give me a message that will support this person to move forward in their day. And you'll get one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm excited to hear what'll happen.
Yeah. Right. So back to you.
Sorry.
So 17 years with a clipboard going, no. And then thank goodness you got out of that.
Yes.
So how did you build your business? Where did these clients come from that that enabled you to quit the job?
Yeah. So it's I definitely don't lie, like it does take work. But it's interesting because we have this whole idea that you need to have the best you need to have the best website and the best this and the best that, and not that I don't think that supports people, but it's all been word of mouth. So I started it, just hear people then saying like, okay, you got to go check her out or whatever, I guess is what it was. So it was really, the beginning was I worked in a Reiki studio about 8 years ago. And so that I think supported to bring, so it flowed back and forth. And then it was all the one-to-one sessions. And at the time, and people would have said I was crazy, but I work 7 days a week. And I would work morning and I worked night because I knew that is what the only, like, look at that. Like,
I know, it's amazing. It's just getting brighter and brighter.
But I knew that was, the reality was like, I don't have a line of credit. And nor did I want it. The only way to know and to really to trust my own worth, I had to.
Oh my goodness me. Right. So I'm really sorry for the people that are listening to this and can't see what we've just seen. There was this, like, I mean, the whole backdrop with Cindy right now is unbelievable. She's got almost like there's an angel just, I don't know what it's doing, but we've just literally seen this bright white thing fly. Yeah. It was quite long, wasn't it? And thin.
Yeah.
Fly by. And both of us saw it. That is mad.
Do you see? It's
yeah. I'm loving this.
I know, it's just, it is incredible.
I want it. Maybe if I open my blinds, I might get it too.
I know, yeah, you really should. You need to try it. I'll keep talking while you open it. Yeah, so I really was, I needed to keep going and going to really trust myself. And so I built this, and then I remember I had gone on a podcast. This was probably 2 years ago. And before I went on the podcast, I thought, oh, the funny thing was I did it all from a cracked phone. I didn't even have a computer until 6 months ago. Everything. I had my podcast on a phone. I created that all, and people were like, Cindy, and I was like, nope, I would edit on a phone. I would edit it at 2 a.m. at night, but I believe so much in it. And I was like, no, I just need to do this. But yeah, so suddenly when I got this computer, I was like, oh my, this makes it much easier.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Everything. But yeah, so I did all of that. And then, yeah, it was about so this is another thing where I always tell people to trust the universe, trust yourself, believe yourself. So there are people, what I'd call them and they'd say, okay, well, this is how much it costs for websites, and this is how much it costs for this and photos. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have that money, so thank you. And then a client came to me, and we had a conversation. And I had said in there, oh, well, why don't you work with somebody? You could help build their business. You don't have to pay. Like I talked about in my life, I've created, I mean, there's a whole other side to me of, I've started walks and built them to be large things here in this city and whatever, right? With no money. I just have a passion for that. That's me.
You've built walks?
Yeah, I have epilepsy too. So there was nothing going on in Vancouver. So I started a walk with 20 people, and it grew to over 1,000. We sent children to Disneyland, and the lieutenant governor would come, and I have a strong will.
Wow.
It will happen if you believe in it. See?
I know. Amazing.
And so anyway, I was explaining that to this client. She'd said, I have wealth, but I don't have happiness right now. And so I was saying, oh, find what you're really good at, make a list and do that with somebody. And the next day she said, I want to help you. I want to help your business without you having to pay. And I feel like did you see it?
I did.
I know.
Sorry, audio listeners.
So beautiful.
My goodness me. It's almost like you've got a sphere around you. Like there's
I know.
Over there, you've got this green, and wow.
I don't even understand.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it?
It is really like I'm in a ball of something right now. I don't really understand it because there's nothing over there.
Has this happened before?
Nope.
Wow. Wow. I think it's our energies connecting.
I know we are connected. I'm going to
take some credit for this.
Take it, because this has never happened. It's my bed right there. Like that's what it is.
Oh my God. This is beautiful. Oh my God. I mean, it's just getting brighter and brighter.
I don't even understand.
Wow. We just had another flying, whatever it was. Oh, and oh my goodness me. I don't even know how we can continue this conversation. This is just unbelievable. Wow. Oh my God. God, have you got I don't know why I'm pointing, because you have no idea where I'm pointing, but above where all that beautiful white light is,
Yeah.
I can see the bottom of a round thing.
Oh, yes. Oh, so is it that?
Yeah. So that, okay, that does
There,
exist.
that's, yes.
I was like, is that an orb? What is it?
Yeah, that's a frame.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. I know.
Does your room actually look like that, or is it just on the screen? Like,
No, no.
wow.
I know. You can see there's other podcasts. This has never happened. Tell me.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you.
I know, right? I know, I'm
Yeah.
really wanting to like show this on mine because
I'll yeah, do you know what? We'll change details and I'll do a WeTransfer or something
okay.
So you can do something with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So where were we?
Sorry. I don't
Oh yeah.
remember.
So this wealthy woman wanting to help you.
Oh yes. So she then has agreed and she has helped me. And so for the last 7 months, she is the one who does all the beautiful photography, all of my websites, all
The
of that.
website's lovely.
It's all her, because
It's
that was
lovely.
not me. I tried to do a website before and it was a mess. But so that's where I feel like so when she stepped in, I knew there was somebody there to help me so that I could finally take the leap to leave my job.
Got you.
So what's interesting though is the website actually hasn't helped me to, like, it hasn't grown my clientele.
Yeah.
So I always want people to know that really don't worry so much about if you want to do something, the website won't help, but knowing that there's something technical behind you is important. But truly what people want is they want somebody who's authentic. They want somebody who's real, who can hear them and see them, is what I truly believe.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds to me, have you ever read I always bring this book up because it's one of my favorites. Have you ever read The Surrender Experiment?
No.
Oh, you need to read that book. Michael Singer. Do you know Michael Singer?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's fantastic book, but you're just kind of reminded me a bit of him, because it's almost like when you've decided, or not that he even decided, he had stuff happen in his life that, you know, threw him a googly, and he had two choices. He could either say, oh, okay then, or he could resist it. And part of the surrender experiment was surrendering to what lays before you. And it kind of feels like that with you. You know, you had this woman come in and all of a sudden, you know, you were able to take the leap, and now you've got rainbows all over your bedroom and little angels and pixies and fairies. I don't know, but
I know.
I know. So yeah, it just sounds wonderful, and you have got a lovely aura about you. You really have.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It really, like, it was, I always say the leap to leave my marriage was very, very hard. That was 10 years ago. And because leaving a lot of security, leaving a lot of you know, the unknowns, telling everybody, I had a baby. Yeah, we saw another one. Sorry guys, we saw another one. You don't know how hot I am. If I could take this off right now. And so that was my first real leap of like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to trust myself and know that I'll be okay. No, and not okay in regular sense, is okay for myself. But then I knew I have to stay in this role to keep us safe, right? To keep choosing one safety over another. And so then it was this unraveling or unpacking. And a lot of people will go like, oh gosh, she just got another crap sandwich again. She got another crap sandwich again. And here she goes again. But I've always said, it's a little crap, but there's so much beauty. I can always find the beauty. And it's what I want other people to see too, is there's always going to be a bit of crap. I mean, if I turn my computer around right now, you'd see there's some crap on the other side of the room. Because it's just where you look, right? And but leaving that job felt like leaving my marriage. It was very, very scary to say, I'm basically trusting myself and trusting this work. And now it's all me. There's no steady income coming. There's no, and to walk out, when I walked in that office that day and said, I'm leaving, oh, it felt so good and so scary all at once. But ever since I've done that, it's just like, it has been rainbows and even the crap that comes in, I'm like, I know I can handle it. I know I can handle it.
Amazing. So the work that you actually do, you talk about bliss, and there was that code of something. What was it
Emotion
called?
code.
Yeah. So what does that look like? And how did that, I mean, you're a Reiki master, but how did that evolve? Is that just naturally come from what's happened, or have you done other stuff to bring that in?
So the Reiki did begin. That was the start point. And then it was one-to-one sessions. And then from that, I do like soul soup nights. So I go out and like, it's a group of people. Always the way I do work is I just, I ask for your first name and I write for you before you arrive. So, and then I sit with your energy with guides and together. And then from that, we have this 1 hour together. Typically though, people don't work with me one time. It usually is either that we do ongoing work together, or we'll meet like once a month, or it's because it's different than I'm going to tell you your future. I do not do that. Every once in a while, I'll see something for somebody's future, but rarely is it that. It's that we're on, like, it's like I'm opening I always say it's like I pull a file at the back of your head and we open that file, we dust it off together, but that I'm there while you do the work in that file. So that's sort of what it's like. And then I do soul soup nights, which is what I call them, which is just with a group of people together, and I go and do that. Are you wanting to chop?
Yeah, there was something weird going on in my throat then. I'm
like,
is this a new one?
What's happening?
Yeah, that was weird.
So that sort of what's going on? What do you need to clear from me? So yeah, so that's sort of the biggest things that I do, I would say, is little mini group events and one-to-one sessions all the time. But now I do courses. So I'll do trainings with larger groups of people as they open their intuition, or mentorships.
Oh, right. So did you train in that then? So this one-on-one, you say it's not reading the future, but it's opening this file. Mm-hmm. How did that come about?
The one-to-one sessions?
Yeah.
That was all just that, when working with a mentor, and then me practicing one-to-one sessions, how that would work for me for the year. And then I would do like energy code with Dr. Sue Morter. I don't know if you know Dr. Sue Morter. Brilliant. So I did probably about 6 months of training, like on the computer. And so I did all of that and all the master classes to figure out what would work with me. I did the emotion code with Dr. Bradley Nielsen. It doesn't, I love it. I appreciate it. I can kind of sort of put that in for my own work if I like it, but it's not my biggest piece. Reiki is more what feels like my space. And then I have my degree in child and youth care, which sort of goes in, right? Like that's all my own, like the black and white, the interviewing skills, the work, the communication, that's all sort of comes in and works together.
Right. Okay. So what does, how long have you been doing it? When did you quit the job?
Oh, I have been doing this for 8 years, but I didn't quit the job till last year.
Yeah. So it's been a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, if there is a next for you, in terms of you've obviously brought in different things with this, and is there, right, so next I want to do this and I want to go and study that and I want to do that. Is there any more that you want to bring into it?
There's so much more.
Yeah.
So we're doing, now we're doing flower essences and face products and all of them. And like there's an online store that's coming in with it. But all because I call her Dear Diary. She's my best friend. And so she creates all of these beautiful products. So they're all coming on, but they're all so in line with who I am. And they all have funny names and all that. So I have all of that that's coming in. But no, it's endless. It's endless. Like I don't even know, because I do past life work too, right? I do with the Akashic records, but I just wait. I wait to find out what it'll be.
Right. Yeah, you are calming me as we speak, because I'm a life coach, life purpose coach, and that was something I got made redundant in 2020, as lots of people did, and I saw that as the kick up the arse I needed to actually do the coaching, which I'd been thinking about for a few years. And I also got approached at the same, literally within 24 hours, I was on a webinar being shown how I could be a coach without even knowing it was coming, sort of thing. It was amazing. So that was my kick up the arse to do it. But it's been a lot slower than I wanted it to be. And obviously I've more recently decided to do some Reiki as well. So sitting here listening to you and just, I don't know, you're sort of giving me, you're making me more excited about what's to come for me in my Reiki journey.
Yes.
Because I am, as I say, I'm sensing things now, and I'd love to like get things come into my mind, that relates to whoever I'm giving Reiki to. And it's happened once or twice, but nothing that I can hang my hat on. I'd really love to be able to say, oh, is your granny called Irene and blah, blah, blah. But that just doesn't happen. So
I think it would. This is the challenge that I've had, where people will say, what are you doing? Or what's your degrees in, or what are this, right? And as soon as you start to do that, even when I do the mentorship and I have people in, and they'll be like, well, what does this course outline look like? And I'm like, there is no course outline. So I sit with you and I wait, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I just listen. And then the messages come, because your intuition's so different than John, Bob, Sally, Mark, and Joe. So I can't create a course based on what all of you would want, because yours is so different. Now, like the course that I do called Bewitched, that's separate. That's like basic tools that everyone can use, right? But if somebody wants to really do their mentorship, that there's no course for that. I shouldn't say that, because people have courses, but I believe that really working one-to-one with somebody, there isn't. It all comes within. I say it's the internet, not the intranet. And so that's hard for us, because we've been so programmed that the more degrees we have and the more things we read, that then we can do it. Whereas I would say, if you got silent for a little bit, you have everything you need, right? You could definitely say, Grandma Irene's here, right? You already have it all.
Yeah. It's that staying silent bit, isn't it? That's hard for a lot of people. I do meditate, but I probably don't meditate as very often it's easy to get sidetracked into whatever the hell the thoughts are doing.
Yes.
But yeah, I hear you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
If people want to work with you more, Cindy, or find out about your courses or whatever they are, where would they go?
So the best place you can go to is Bliss. Well, you can find me on Instagram at Blissful Intuitive. I'm there hanging out all the time. Or www.blissfulintuitive.com. Took me a second. And you can hear me at the Girl Out There podcast.
Cool. Brilliant. I was just thinking, because we should have done this last week, and I had to change it. And so we rearranged for this Friday. And I'm just wondering whether the weather was completely different last Friday and we would not have got that sun that's coming through.
I know. It's like the perfect day.
Perfect. I know.
Yes, I know. This was, I can't even get over it. I can't.
I know. It's unbelievable.
I know.
So I love to finish these conversations, although I don't really want to finish it because it's lovely, but how anything you feel called to share basically to the listeners.
I think, and I could get welled up even just, is to dip your toe back into the magic of yourself, to recall what you felt when you were 5 and go back there for yourself in any way. We forget how beautiful that space is. So whether it's a chat with me, whether it's a chat with you, whether it's going and like people laugh that I skip down the street, it feels great. I will be forever 5 in many ways, and even at 45. And I just say, dip your toe back in the magic.
Wow. As you look down, there was another one.
Yeah, I did. I feel so like I feel so loved right now. Like it's so beautiful.
I know it is. And I apologize again to the audio listeners because they'll be like, this is so frustrating because I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I know.
But go to my YouTube channel and it will be there. So you will get to see it in all its splendid glory because it really is beautiful.
Oh, this is thank you so much.
I know.
This is so beautiful.
Right. Well, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you, Cindy. And
so good. Thank you.
Yeah, all the very best to you.
Thank you.